Hey there, and welcome to Tales by June, where hearts break, heal, and sometimes seek revenge. Let's begin today's story.
Hey, before we begin, let me know where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for.
The house felt wrong the moment she ran out. Too loud, too empty, too still. Daniel stood where she had left him, chest tight, pulse erratic, the echo of the door slamming replaying over and over in his head. He told himself she would come back. She always stayed quiet, always absorbed pain without protest. But the minutes stretched, then hours. Midnight came and went. Her phone went unanswered. Every possible explanation clawed at him, each worse than the last. He sat on the edge of the bed, elbows on knees, staring at the floor like it might give him answers. I went too far. The thought arrived uninvited and refused to leave. The phone rang at 2:17 a.m. "Mr. Daniel Hale?" the voice asked. "Yes. This is City General Hospital. Your wife has been admitted following a car accident." The world tilted. "What?" His voice came out hoarse. "Is she? She's conscious now. You should come immediately." Daniel didn't remember grabbing his keys. Didn't remember the drive. Only the sound of his own heartbeat pounding violently in his ears. When he reached the hospital, the sight of her parents shattered what little composure he had left. Her mother was crying softly. Her father paced, face pale with fear. "What happened?" her father demanded the moment he saw Daniel. Why was she driving so late? Where was she going? Daniel opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Behind him, his mother and sister stood unnaturally quiet, eyes avoiding everyone's gaze. Ava arrived moments later, breathless, eyes sharp and searching. She took in the scene, the silence, the tension, Daniel's guilt, and something dark flickered across her face. She didn't ask questions. She watched. The doctor finally emerged. "She's stable. Just a hit to the forehead and mild shock. She'll recover fully." Relief crashed through the room. Then the doctor added, "She's asked to see only her family." The words hit Daniel harder than any accusation. Only her family. He nodded stiffly as they walked past him. Ava lingered for half a second, eyes narrowing at him before following the others. Inside the room, Amelia lay pale but awake, a small bandage on her forehead. She smiled faintly when she saw them. "I'm fine," she said quickly, before anyone could ask. "I was just overwhelmed. Work pressure. I went for a drive to clear my head." Daniel watched through the glass, heart sinking. Her father scolded her gently. "You need rest. I'll handle the company for now." She nodded. "I also want some quiet time. Maybe a short vacation. Alone." Ava looked at her closely. "You don't have to be alone," Ava said softly. "You can stay with me if you want." Amelia's eyes widened. "Really?" Ava smiled. "Of course." Emotion welled up in Amelia's eyes. She nodded. Their parents exchanged surprised glances, but hopeful ones. Outside, Ava stepped into the corridor where Daniel stood waiting like a man sentenced. "She needs space," Ava said coolly. "Real space." "I just want to see her," Daniel replied, voice low, strained. "No," Ava said flatly. "Not until she wants to see you." His mother and sister slipped away quietly, shame trailing behind them. Daniel stayed rooted where he was, watching the door to Amelia's room. For the first time, power meant nothing. And the fear of losing her, truly losing her, settled deep into his bones. Ava's house felt nothing like Daniel's. It was warm, lived in. Sunlight spilled freely through wide windows, touching shelves filled with books, plants, and framed memories Amelia didn't recognize, but felt welcome among. "This is beautiful," Amelia said softly as Ava helped her inside. Ava smiled. It's peaceful. I needed that. So do I, Amelia admitted. The first night, Ava tucked Amelia into the guest room like she used to when they were younger, pulling the blanket up, leaving the lamp on low. You don't have to be strong here, Ava said. And for the first time in years, Amelia wasn't. Ava took care of her with quiet devotion. She cooked. She reminded Amelia to take her medicine. She sat beside her during the day while Amelia slept or stared out the window, lost in thought. They talked about small things at first: music, travel, childhood memories they'd never dared revisit. 2 days passed like this. On the third morning, Ava noticed the phone. It buzzed on the table. Daniel. Amelia turned it face down instantly. Ava didn't say anything. Not yet. Later, while they sat at the breakfast table, Ava poured coffee and finally spoke. You're avoiding him. Amelia froze. Ava met her gaze steadily. And don't tell me it's nothing. I know when you're lying. I've always known. Tears welled in Amelia's eyes. I didn't want you to hate him, she whispered. Ava set her cup down slowly. Tell me. And Amelia did. She told her everything, from the cold mornings and silent dinners to the mocking laughter and Daniel's refusal to defend her. She told her about the night that almost felt like love, about the morning that erased it, and finally about the slap. By the time she finished, her hands were shaking, tears streaming freely down her face. Ava was silent for a long moment. Then she stood. I won't let him near you, she said, voice trembling with fury. Not until you're healed. Not until he understands what he did. Amelia looked up, startled. Ava. No. Ava interrupted gently but firmly. I should have protected you a long time ago. I won't fail you again. Daniel tried. Calls. Messages. Flowers delivered and returned unopened. Once, he showed up at Ava's gate. Ava stepped outside alone. She's resting, Ava said coolly. I just want to talk. You've done enough talking. Another day, he called late at night. Ava answered. If you care about her, she said calmly, you'll stop hurting her by existing in her silence. The line went dead. Daniel's frustration grew, guilt curdling into desperation. Meanwhile, the sisters grew closer. They cooked together, walked in the evenings, shared secrets they'd buried for years. One night, Amelia rested her head on Ava's shoulder. I missed you, she whispered. I know, Ava replied. I never stopped loving you. And for the first time in a long time, Amelia believed that maybe, just maybe, she was finally safe. Daniel hadn't slept properly in days. Restlessness clung to him like a second skin, sharp, relentless. He paced empty rooms, stared at his phone until the screen dimmed, replayed the moment his hand had struck her face until his chest felt too tight to breathe. He was losing her, and for the first time in his life, power didn't give him control. The truth came to him unexpectedly. The maid, older, loyal, trembling, stopped him one evening as he headed out. Sir, she said quietly, I can't stay silent anymore. Daniel turned. She told him everything. The mocking, the deliberate taunts, the push, the fake tears, the way Amelia had swallowed humiliation day after day. By the time she finished, Daniel's face had gone cold. That night, he confronted his mother and sister. You lied, he said, voice dangerously calm. His sister scoffed. She deserved it, always acting superior. Daniel slammed his fist on the table. Enough. They froze. You are banned from my house, he said flatly. Both of you. Effective immediately. His mother gasped. Daniel. If either of you come near Amelia again, he continued, eyes dark, You will regret it." They left in stunned silence. The house felt quieter than ever, and emptier. Out of desperation, not strategy, Daniel called Ethan. Ethan Black, billionaire, ruthless, his best friend, the only man who never feared him. "She won't see me," Daniel said bluntly. "Ava won't let me." Ethan laughed. "Of course she won't. Sisters are territorial." "Fine. I'll come." They arrived at Ava's house 2 days later. Ava opened the door, took one look at Ethan, and smirked. "Let me guess. You're the unnecessary reinforcement." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "And you must be the self-appointed gatekeeper." "You're blocking a married couple," Ethan said coolly. "That's interference." Ava folded her arms. "And you're defending a man who slapped his wife. That's stupidity." Ethan's smile sharpened. "Careful. You're crossing lines." Ava laughed. "Please. You look like a walking midlife crisis." Ethan scoffed. "At least I don't live off righteous anger and houseplants." "Better than living off ego and poor moral judgment," Ava shot back. Daniel and Amelia appeared behind them at the same time. "Stop," Amelia said softly, mortified. Ethan stepped forward. "Amelia, you deserve to hear him." "And you deserve to leave," Ava snapped. Ethan opened his mouth. Daniel grabbed his arm. "Ethan." Ava grabbed Amelia. "Ignore him." The four of them stood tangled in chaos. Then Amelia laughed. It slipped out unexpectedly, soft, surprised, real. Everyone froze. Ethan blinked. Did I just get roasted into a family therapy session?" Ava smirked. "Yes. And you lost." Ethan huffed. "Unbelievable." Daniel looked at Amelia, really looked, and saw something fragile but alive. Hope. For the first time since the accident, it didn't feel impossible. Just earned. It started with nausea. Sudden. Unforgiving. Amelia barely made it to the sink before she vomited, hands gripping the counter as her body trembled. Ava was beside her instantly, worry sharp in her eyes. "This isn't normal," Ava said. "You've barely eaten." "I'm fine," Amelia tried to insist, but her voice lacked conviction. The doctor came within the hour. The examination was quick, quiet, and then the words landed like thunder wrapped in silk. "You're pregnant." The room stilled. Ava blinked. Pregnant. Amelia's breath caught. Her hand moved instinctively to her stomach. 1,000 emotions collided: shock, fear, warmth, grief, hope. "Yes," the doctor continued gently. "Early weeks. You'll need rest." After the doctor left, silence settled between the sisters. "I don't know how to feel," Amelia whispered finally. "I'm happy and terrified." Ava took her hands. "You don't have to decide anything today." But Amelia already knew. This child changed everything and complicated it all. Ava refused to let her drown in thoughts. A few days later, she dragged Amelia to a movie set, bright lights, bustling energy, controlled chaos. It was overwhelming in the best way. Actors greeted Ava warmly. Someone offered Amelia coffee. Another complimented her smile. One actor, charming, famous, took Amelia's hand lightly. "You're glowing," he said, pressing a polite kiss to her knuckles. Amelia blushed, flustered but smiling. Across the set, Ava was too busy arguing with a familiar face to notice. "Ethan, so you're the investor now?" Ava snapped. "Who asked you?" Ethan smirked. "Talent deserves funding, even if the director is impossible." "Impossible." Ava scoffed. "I'll show you impossible." They were mid-argument when Amelia felt a presence behind her. A hand closed around her wrist. Firm. Possessive. Daniel. Before she could react, He pulled her into an empty room, shut the door, locked it. His chest rose and fell rapidly. He wrapped his arms around her, burying his face in her hair, breathing her in like he'd been starving. He took out a handkerchief and rubbed her knuckles carefully. "I don't like people touching you," he said lowly. "Kissing you." Amelia stiffened. "Let go of my hand." He didn't. "Who does he think he is?" Daniel continued. "Only I can touch you. You're mine." She laughed bitterly. "Oh, even to slap me, right?" The words cut deep. Daniel froze. "I'm sorry," he said hoarsely. "I was wrong. I let them poison me. His voice broke. "Please come back." Amelia searched his face, this ruthless man unraveling before her. "There's something you should know," she said quietly. She told him about the baby. Daniel staggered back like he'd been struck, then disbelief melted into something raw, luminous. "You're pregnant." His eyes shone. "Amelia." She shook her head. "Don't stay because of the child. You said what we shared was a mistake. I can raise this baby alone." "No," he argued fiercely. "That was my fear talking. You are not a mistake." The door flew open. "Ava." She stepped between them instantly, glare lethal. "We're leaving." Daniel met Ava's eyes. Silent apology. Silent plea. Ava didn't soften. She took Amelia's hand and led her away. Behind them, Daniel stood alone in the locked room, realizing too late that the things he feared losing had already slipped from his grasp. The moment they returned home, Ava turned on Amelia. "You're too soft on him," Ava said, pacing the living room. "One apology and you melt? He slapped you, Amelia. He deserves consequences." Amelia sat on the couch, arms wrapped around herself, eyes wet. "I know. Her voice broke. "I still love him." Ava opened her mouth to argue, and froze. From the kitchen came the sound of utensils clinking. Soft laughter. Their parents. They had arrived early. Amelia's mother stepped into the doorway, face pale. "What did you just say?" Ava swallowed, then straightened. "You should sit." And she told them everything. From the cold marriage, the insults, the silence, the slap. Amelia broke down completely, crying into her mother's arms. Her father's face darkened with every word, anger building, controlled but terrifying. "I will break all ties with that man," he said finally, voice shaking. "No one raises a hand on my daughter." The doorbell rang. The timing felt cruel. Ava opened the door to find Daniel and Ethan standing there. Her father didn't wait for explanations. "How dare you," he thundered. "How dare you touch my daughter?" Daniel didn't defend himself. He bowed his head. "I deserve this." Ava folded her arms. "Oh, good. At least he knows." Her father's hand struck Daniel's face. Once. Twice. Everyone froze. Ethan stepped forward in shock. "Sir." Daniel raised a hand. "No." "Let him." Each slap echoed painfully. Amelia cried harder with every one. "Stop," she shouted suddenly. She rushed forward, placing herself between them. Daniel instinctively wrapped his arms around her, shielding her. Her father stared at her, stunned. "You're protecting him?" Amelia turned, tears streaming. "I'm protecting us. I was hurting too. I was lonely. I felt invisible. And I'm tired of being strong alone." Daniel held her tightly, whispering apologies into her hair. "There's more," Daniel said quietly to her parents. "Amelia is pregnant." Silence. Then gasps. Her mother's hand flew to her mouth. Her father sank into a chair, overwhelmed. They looked at Amelia gently. "What do you want?" She looked at Daniel, shy but sure. "I want to stay with him." Relief flooded Daniel's face. He hugged her carefully, reverently. I swear, he said to her father, I will never hurt her again. I will protect her with my life. That night, dinner was shared, tentative at first, then warmer. Ava and Ethan bickered nonstop. You chew too loudly, Ava snapped. You direct too loudly, Ethan shot back. Everyone laughed. Daniel fed Amelia small bites, watching her like she was precious. Later, when Daniel hesitated at the door, Ava rolled her eyes. You can stay. One night. Ethan blinked. Do I get a room too? Ava smiled sweetly. You have a house. Get lost. Laughter echoed through the hallway. That night, Daniel held Amelia gently, reverently, as if afraid she'd disappear. Their closeness was slow, emotional, filled with whispered apologies and promises. The world faded until there was only warmth, safety, and love finally spoken without fear. Morning came with sunlight and the smell of breakfast. Ava yawned dramatically. Didn't sleep well. Too noisy. Amelia and Daniel blinked, then understood. Amelia hid her face, mortified. Daniel smirked. You should sleep now. There won't be any noise. Ava sipped her coffee. Thank you for the suggestion. Amelia giggled. And for the first time in a long time, the house was full of laughter, not fear. When Amelia returned home, it no longer felt like a battlefield. Daniel stood at the entrance waiting for her, as if he had been standing there long before the car arrived. Not rigid, not guarded, just open. Welcome home, he said softly. Not welcome back. Home. He took her bag himself, guided her inside, his hand never leaving the small of her back. Flowers filled the house, fresh, fragrant, everywhere. Her favorite ones. Ones she had never told him about. You didn't have to, Amelia began. I want to, Daniel interrupted gently. Always. From that day, care became his language. Daniel woke before her now, not to leave, but to stay. She would wake to find him sitting beside her, reading reports quietly, one hand resting protectively on her stomach. Sometimes he kissed her forehead before she even opened her eyes. Still sleeping, he'd whisper fondly. She smiled every time. One evening, months later, Amelia sat on the balcony, watching the sunset. Daniel joined her, draping a shawl over her shoulders. You're cold. I feel it. He knelt in front of her instead, resting his head against her belly. Talk to me, he murmured to the baby. Tell her not to overwork. Amelia laughed, eyes wet. I didn't know you could be like this, she confessed. I didn't either, he said honestly. Until you. Some nights, when the house slept, Daniel held her like she might vanish. Slow kisses, whispered apologies, promises repeated until Amelia believed them completely. This time, love didn't hurt. Months passed. Ava organized the baby shower like it was a film premiere. The house was filled with laughter, balloons, soft music, and chaos. Friends arrived. Parents hovered. Daniel looked simultaneously proud and overwhelmed. Ethan leaned against the wall, smirking. I still think the kid's going to inherit her sarcasm. Ava shot back. Better than inheriting your ego. Daniel laughed, openly. Amelia watched it all with a hand over her heart, overwhelmed by how loved she felt. Gifts piled up. Tears flowed. Her mother cried endlessly. Her father stood quietly, eyes shining. You did good, he whispered to Amelia. She nodded. I finally learned how. Labor started early in the morning. Amelia gripped Daniel's arm. I know, Daniel panicked. We need the bag. The car. Why is this taking so long? Ava rolled her eyes. She's the one in labor, drama king. Ethan held the car keys up. You forgot these. The drive was a blur, Amelia breathing through pain, Daniel whispering encouragements mixed with frantic prayers. "I'm here," he repeated. "I won't leave. Ever." At the hospital, family gathered quickly. Ava took control. Her parents calmed Daniel, who looked seconds away from collapsing. In the delivery room, Daniel held Amelia's hand as if it were the only thing keeping him alive. "You're strong," he whispered, tears slipping free. "You're incredible." After hours that felt endless, a cry filled the room. "It's a boy." Daniel broke. Amelia cried. Their world arrived wrapped in tiny fists and loud protests. Daniel kissed Amelia's forehead again and again. "Thank you," he whispered, "for saving me." Family poured in, tears, laughter, awe. Ava leaned over the crib. "He's perfect." Ethan nodded. "Obviously takes after me." Ava smacked his arm. "Delusional." Daniel's mother and sister arrived hesitantly. Daniel stiffened, but Amelia squeezed his hand. "Let them see him." They approached slowly, regret heavy in their eyes. "I'm sorry," his mother whispered. "Truly." Amelia smiled softly. "Let's start fresh." The baby yawned, unaware of the history rewritten for him, surrounded by love, forgiveness, laughter, and hope. Amelia realized something profound. The girl who once survived silence had built a family loud with love. And this time, nothing was breaking it. 2 years later, the house was never quiet. Their son, wild curls, fearless grin, unstoppable energy, ruled it like a tiny hurricane. He ran barefoot through hallways, climbed furniture like mountains, and laughed loud enough to fill every corner of the home that once knew only silence. "Stop him," Daniel called one afternoon, chasing the boy across the lawn. The child shrieked with delight, crashing straight into Amelia's legs. "Traitor," Daniel accused gently as Amelia scooped their son up. She kissed the child's cheek. "I'm on his side. Always." Daniel's parents visited often now, softer, humbler. His mother knelt to build towers only to watch them collapse seconds later. His father laughed more than he ever had. Amelia's parents watched it all with quiet pride. Ava was the favorite aunt. Dramatic entrances, gifts too big, bedtime stories that turned into performances. Their son adored her. Weekend family gatherings were loud, messy, warm. Food everywhere. Laughter layered over old pain that had finally healed. At dinner, Ethan suddenly cleared his throat. "I have an announcement." Ava froze. Daniel raised an eyebrow. "This should be interesting." Ethan grinned. "Ava and I are together." Silence. Then, "What?" Amelia blinked. Ava groaned. "I didn't agree to a public declaration." Their son clapped. "Yay!" Laughter exploded. Cheers followed. Ava tried to look annoyed, but failed miserably. Amelia hugged her sister tightly. "I'm so happy for you," Ava whispered. "Don't get emotional. I'll cry." Daniel lifted his glass. "To brave women and foolish men." Ethan bowed. "I accept." As the laughter faded, Amelia stood. "I also have something to say." Daniel turned to her, confused. "I'm pregnant." The room erupted. Daniel stared at her, stunned. Then his eyes filled instantly. He pulled her into his arms, hands trembling. Again. Months later, under soft hospital lights, Daniel held their newborn daughter, tiny, perfect, peaceful. Their son stood on his toes, peering into the crib. "Mine?" he asked. "Yes," Amelia whispered. "Your sister." He nodded solemnly, then smiled wide. The family gathered close, tears, laughter, hands intertwined. Daniel kissed Amelia's temple. "We made this." She smiled. "We survived for this." And as their daughter slept in Daniel's arms and their son laughed in Ava's, Amelia knew. This wasn't just a happy ending. It was a life reclaimed,